Welcome into Dwyer Field on senior night and homecoming night for Mason High School. The 7-1 Princeton Vikings are visiting. They've had a strong year with new head coach Andre Parker.
Yeah, the hunt for the GMC title is alive and well. 4 teams still in the hunt for the crown, one of them being the Princeton Vikings. They just need to keep up their 4-game win streak.
Yeah, Princeton holding steady at number 5 in the regional playoff rankings, while Mason clings to a top 10 ranking at number 9. Princeton now in Tier 2 of Cincy D1 playoffs with Dakota East, Dakota West, Milford behind frontrunners St. X and Moeller. And for Princeton tonight, it's all about if they can get to Brown. Rushing yards allowed, 69.5 per game. That's the best in the GMC, but passing yards, 203.6 per game. That's worse than GMC.
Yeah, and for the Comets, they just need to limit turnovers, play clean football. They've only had 1 turnover in the last 2 games. They had 6 in September.
If we're talking about players to watch for Mason, it's got to be the newly crowned quarterback Larson Brown's got a 62.4 completion percentage, 151 passing yards per game, 12 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions on the year. And taken in for Michael Molnar, stepping into that quarterback position only as a junior. He's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, and Princeton, they've had a bit of a quarterback change-up of their own. TJ Engelman, the sophomore, has stepped in for star Makai Lynn, who had an arm injury, and he's absolutely lit the GMC on fire. Only needs 40 more yards to reach 2,000 all-purpose yards, but Lynn questionable today, so we could be seeing the return of the star.
And we did see Lynn warming up earlier today. He took some throws, but Engelman got his throws in as well. So we're going to wait to see what happens when Princeton gets on offense. As the Vikings, we mentioned their new coach, Andre Parker. He's coming over from Winton Woods, had a lot of success in the Southwest region for Division II. That Winton Woods-LaSalle rivalry is one of the biggest in high school football in the area, even though it is Division II. And he's taken that success right away to Princeton.
Yeah, Coach Parker, he's brought a new energy to Princeton, and they're showing out the past 2 years. And 4-1, they're in the hunt for the GMC title here. And a win today would be a big step forward towards that.
Yeah, speaking of energy, the Mason Comets, it's their homecoming night, it's their senior night. Very rarely do you get both on one night, on the same night, but it just doubles the excitement for the Comets. A nice showing on Mason's side of the bleachers. And once again, I'm Ben Haller alongside my partner, Andrew Little, for the evening. Great showing from the Black Hole with everyone's blues. Love like JJ shirts.
Yeah, and now we're about to head to kickoff with Molnar and Kobe Lewis back out there for the return.
Kick is away, and we're underway here on senior night. Taken by Kobe Lewis. Mason's known for doing this trick play on kick returns. Lewis keeps it himself, and it's not going to work for him this time. Stuffed just after the 10-yard line. So immediately, Mason won't have great field position coming out.
Yeah, at their last home game against Lakota West, the Comets came out, ran that same trick play, you could call it, on the kickoff with Lewis handing it off to Garnett, and it worked. They got past midfield, but this time they get stuffed, setting the Comet offense back far in their own territory, starting at the 13-yard line.
Something Mason feels like they need to do more often is get out to that strong lead, and that first offensive drive of the game can really set the tone. But it won't be easy for them starting at their own 10. Immediately you're going to see trips to the left with Brown in the backfield. Just going to be a screen pass to Nick Sailors. Not able to break the tackle. A swarm of Vikings gets him. No gain for Sailors.
Yeah, and Sailors, he's more of a powerful runner, so they're trying to get him out in space. But the Princeton defender, that's number 21, Chris Gillum, just gets there before him and stops Sailors for a loss of 2.
Second and 11 coming up for the Comets. Lewis in motion now for the shotgun snap from Brown. And he's just going to hand it off to Sailors. Sailors will be used once again. This time gets positive yardage, but not much.
Yeah, and there it was the senior linebacker Anis Lugman that stopped Sailors. He leads the GMC in sacks right now with 7. And there with the tackle, forcing a 3rd medium for the Comets.
3rd and 5 coming up formation, trips formation again. No one to Brown's left. Snap taken, it's gonna roll out right. Looking sideline, gets a receiver, that's Lewis. But I believe he's just gonna be just short.
Yeah, and Brown got the ball out quick to Lewis, but he's just met by a swarm of Princeton defenders. Wasn't able to get any additional yardage. The Comets, they're gonna have to punt on their first possession.
Rocky!
Yeah, so not the start that the Comets wanted. We talked about setting the tone, and it was hard for them to get anything going after the botched up trick play and then the nice defensive play made by Princeton on the Sailor screen. We'll see what multi-sport athlete Michael Molnar can do here. Punts up. Molnar always gets a good bounce, and it seems like this is the same story. It's going to roll all the way to Princeton's 25-yard line. So he was punting inside his own 5.
Yeah, a bit of a silver lining there for the Comets as Molnar's punt is going to set Princeton back at the 26. And, you know, with how far backed up the Comets were, we were expecting the Vikings to get the ball around midfield. So this is going to ease it up for the Comets defense. And there comes the Princeton Vikings offense.
Led by quarterback number 4, Mekhi Lynn. His first appearance, it seems like forever, Andrew. Immediately takes a shotgun snap. It's going to be handoff to former quarterback Engelman. Eventually going to be brought down by Zach Rogers and Bryce Falk. Only his 2nd game of the season making a tackle.
Yeah, but the way that Engelman's been playing this season, I mean, he's an early candidate for GMC Player of the Year. You can't take him off the field even though you're bringing back your star quarterback.
2nd and 8 now, shotgun snap. It'll be Engelman again. This time, no gain. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Good job by the Mason defensive line to hold.
Yeah, and both quarterbacks, Lynn, the Buffalo commit, the senior, and then the sophomore Engelman are dual threats. Going into the season, Engelman was expected to play a slot receiver role, but now they're kind of shifting him to a running back in Lynn's return. He is 4th in rushing in the GMC with 812 yards, and that came as a quarterback, so we'll see what he can do exclusively on the ground tonight.
Say exclusively on the ground, but he's going to be lined up in a slot formation. Looking left and getting the first down. The connection from Lynn, pass completed to Jaleel Engelman, the brother of TJ Engelman.
Yeah, Engelman, he's been a big part of this Princeton receiving attack. Also with Rodney Harris Jr., but Engelman has 271 yards, 6 touchdowns on the year, so they've looked towards him in the red zone.
He's the junior, the older brother of TJ Engelman. And Lynn's gonna look right this time. Miscommunication with his receiver. That's who you just talked about, Rodney Harris Jr., another multi-sport athlete, plays basketball for the Vikings as well. And he's not on the same page with Lynn there.
The Vikings catch a break there. Zach Rogers was pretty close to the ball. If Lynn hadn't overthrown that, Rogers might have made a play and got the interception.
It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 here. That first down was crucial from Engelman. TJ Engelman in motion, and his 3rd carry of the game. Hand off to him. And just like the other 2, not much gain, only about 2 yards.
Yeah, Engelman lined up in the slot there, and they motioned him for that jet sweep, but the Comets did a nice job there. Their secondary getting to him, not giving him any space on the perimeter. Leading up a big 3rd and 9.
3rd and 9 of the Vikings' first drive of the game. Looking to hold on and stay in the hunt for GMC. Rolling out to a right, Mekhi Lynn finds a receiver, gets a dump-off pass. Nice spin move by Engelman. And he does get the first down. So it looks like Engelman had no room to work with, but able to make a nice spin move and get just what he needed.
Yeah, and Makai Lynn there does a good job scrambling out, finding the open receiver, and throwing it over the Comets linebacker. I think that was Caden Evans to get the first down. The Buffalo commit already showing off his playmaking abilities.
So Princeton's been able to find 2 big plays when they needed them this drive. 3-step drop back, rolling out right. Lynn's just going to keep it himself, taking it to the sideline. Eventually be run out about the 45. Princeton's now in Comet territory.
Yeah, we talked about both of these quarterbacks being dual threats. That's one of the reasons that Lynn is a highly regarded 3-star recruit. He can make plays with his legs just as easily as he can with his arm.
Second and 4 coming up now for the Vikings. Fake handoff, looking to left. That's Engelman again, his 3rd catch of the game, and he's sprinting across Mason territory, getting to the 30-yard line. Caden Evans finally makes the play.
Yeah, a little bit of run after catch there from Engelman. And it's been the Engelman brothers, TJ and Jaleel, making plays so far for the Vikings, pushing deep into Comet territory.
Hey, he's coming out here. Let's go, dude.
So they're now looking good. A nice little shuttle pass, but a nice play made by Jake Bates. We haven't said his name yet today, but on the first drive, able to get a crucial tackle for a 5-yard loss.
And the junior, Jake Bates, GMC leading tackler. He's a heavy hitter there for the second level. Big pursuit there. 74 tackles. I expect to hear his name a lot more tonight. He and Evans are the leaders of that Comet defense. And now it's going to force a 2nd and long for Lynn.
Princeton hasn't been in this situation yet this drive. 2nd and 15 from Mason's 35. Going out to his right, there's a lot of pressure. Lynn's just got to get it out and float it downfield. And he overshoots his receiver, Harris. Harris wanted the flag. Officials not giving in.
Yeah, sticky coverage there from Zach Rogers. Physical there. He's a smaller guy, so he has to make up for with that aggressive coverage. And no call for pass interference, so that's going to force 3rd and 15. Princeton all of a sudden not in as great of a situation as it looked like they were going to be in.
That's what one play can do to you. Jake Bates, that's what he does for this defense. He comes up big time and time again.
The Vikings going to be looking to their veteran signal caller here to make a play.
Trips to the right of Lynn. Shotgun snap, rolling out right. That's where the trips were. Looking downfield. And incomplete off the hands of Rodney Harris. Harris has been targeted a few times today, but not able to haul one in yet. And that brings up a 4th and 16.
Yeah, and the 35. He's just a little high on that pass there to Harrison. The big body 6'3" target for Lynn, both seniors, but not on the same page there. Maybe a little rust on the arm.
It was one of those plays where you look at it and you can put some blame on both guys. That did hit Harris's fingers, but it was a little high. But Princeton staying on the field, 4th and 16. They're gonna have to look deep. Lynn does. Got his receiver. There's some jump ball action and a touchdown. Taken down by Jaleel Engelman, who had it originally, and it looked like Evans took it away. But when they came up, Engelman still had control. So Princeton on the board first. Connection on Lynn's first touchdown pass back to the junior, Jaleel Engelman.
Yeah, and what a catch there from Engelman, going up over several Comets defenders.
Cole Walker to attempt the extra point, and it's good. So 7-0. Princeton leads now. On just their first drive, they were able to milk some clock, but also put some points on the board.
And Cole Walker, I was calling the Mason boys soccer game against Princeton earlier. He's a member of that soccer team. Jacob Hernandez, the Comet kicker, also soccer players. We got a couple dual sport athletes for both teams.
You hear about multi-sport athletes all the time, but not in the same season. So we're going to take a look. 4th and 16. Lynn had no option but to look deep, and it didn't look pretty. But Engelman just needed a little bit of space, and once he got his fingers on it, no question about it.
Yeah, and recognizes the mismatch there. Caden Evans is a linebacker, Mikey Jones a safety. So they throw it to their big receiver, who comes down with a huge play. And the Comets defense, they've struggled all season getting off the field on 3rd and 4th downs. Hurt them big time against Fairfield last week in that nail-biter loss.
So Mason will look to respond. 5:42 left to go in the first. Walker, who we just talked about, the star soccer player for Princeton. We step back to kick. Mason looking for a better return than the last.
You can see on your screen there, Michael Molnar.
They're going to discuss something with Princeton head coach Andre Walker.
There's Engelman, who just made the big play, talking to the ref.
We're going to play on. Walker finally back to kick again. Not even halfway through the second quarter, it's already his second kickoff. Kick is up, going to be taken by Kobe Lewis in the end zone, and he's going to make the smart move there. Fair catch. Mason will start their drive at their own 25-yard line.
Yeah, after the Vikings squashed the Comets' trickery attempt on the last kickoff, Lewis makes the smart decision to just take the touchback, give the Comets the ball at the 20-yard line. And now Larson Brown back on the field, going to try to lead the Comets, see how they respond after the Vikings scored on their first possession. The Vikings defense wants to get another 3 and out.
So a very stacked trips look. Finally going to have Garnett in motion behind Brown, and it's going to be a pitch to him over on the right side. Very shifty is Garnett, and he worked his way into a first down. Saeed Garnett, his first carry of the game.
Yeah, and Garnett, they love to get him in motion. He's a receiver, but they run the ball with him a lot. He's got 390 all-purpose yards on the year, and here they sweep and just uses his speed, makes a couple guys miss, gets close to the first down line, moves the chains for the Comets.
When the offensive line can make their blocks like all of them did there, that's all you needed. That's all Garnett needs to get that first down. Trips look again. Brown gonna have a little bit of time. Ball is tipped. Luckily, no one was in the area. That pass was intended for Molnar, but the Princeton defensive line got to him.
Yeah, and when a tip happens, you just have to tip your hat to the defense. That's not on. You can't blame that on the quarterback too much. It's just a great play by the defense there.
It originally looked like Brown had a lot of time until the edge rusher came. Same formation, no one to the right this time. Handoff to Sailors, bouncing off to the right side. He's got some room. He's in Princeton territory, inside the 40. Finally gonna be brought down at about the 30-yard line. Nick Sailors.
Yeah, and Sailors, 5th GMC in rushing yards, showing off his big playability there. But there is a flag. So this one could be coming back.
Not a good sign of Sailors limping off the field, but doesn't look like he needs any help. You know, it feels like about 50% of the time in high school, those big plays are coming back with a penalty, and it is going to be a holding on Mason.
Yeah, and
it was still a good run by Nick Sailors.
Coach Castro not going to be happy about that. I mean, it was a great run by Sailors. He just outran the Vikings defenders. But the hold from the Comet offensive line going to set them back.
So when they thought they had a 1st and 10 at the Princeton 30, they're going to be stuck at their own 29 for a 2nd and 11. Snap taken by Brown, rolling out to his left. Going to look deep. Receiver, 2 defenders and caught. That's Kobe Lewis. And he's talking to the defender, letting him know. How about the senior Kobe Lewis, his first reception of the game?
Kobe Lewis, a huge playmaker for this Comet offense. Larson Brown took a huge hit there, but still able to deliver the ball. And Kobe Lewis goes up, grabs the ball over the Vikings defenders. That big 1st down. That could have been a dangerous throw, but Lewis able to bring it in.
4:16 left to go in the 1st quarter. Vikings on their first drive were able to capitalize and put up 7. Brown shaken up after that big hit that you saw. Michael Molnar, as it looks like he'll step in the game for that quarterback role.
Yeah, some backups in at both quarterback and running back right now, because Sailors went out after that big run. Sophomore Mikey Jones is in.
We talked about him earlier, but it was on the defensive side as a safety, so he can play both ways. We'll see what Mason can get now. After that big holding, that drawing back, they're able to get inside Princeton territory once again. Handoff will be given to Jones, and his first carry goes nowhere. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, when Molnar is at quarterback, most of the time it's going to be a run for the Comets. But it looks like Larson Brown is coming back out. So that'll move Molnar back to his traditional position of receiver. Now 2nd and 10, they'll see if they can recover after that run that went nowhere. Jones still in the game at running back.
It's a good sign to see Brown back in the game. I think it was just a precautionary, just give him a little check-in after that hit. Garnett in motion, handoff to Jones once again, who almost broke a tackle, but a nice shoestring play made from Princeton defensive line. That was Jair Short who made the tackle.
Yeah, consecutive stops from that Princeton D-line. And when you run it early on both downs, you always run the risk of having that 3rd and long for your quarterback. And now 3rd and 8 at the 42. Probably 4-down territory, though, for the Comets. So you want to get at least 5 or 6 yards here. You don't necessarily need to go for the big play.
Too far for a field goal, but they're too far into Princeton's territory to punt. Trips to the right in the stack look. Garnett will be in motion again, and he'll head back. Snap taken, rolling right is Brown, looking downfield. Got hit as he threw it and almost picked off by Chris Gillum.
Yeah, and again, takes a big hit on it there, but Chris Gillum almost had the interception there.
We'll take a look at it again. Brown thought he had a lot of room, but coming from his blind side, and Gillum just missed that ball. I don't know if he wasn't ready, but very fortunate for the Comets. Like you said, 4-down territory, they will go for it. 4th and 8.
A bit of a surprise there as they did go for that big play on 3rd and long.
Well, Andrew, I think you have a close connection with the offensive coordinator, so I'm surprised you don't know what he's thinking. Under center for the first time of the game, and Mason just tried to get Princeton with a hard count. They're going to burn a timeout and talk things over seriously here. Obviously, I'm referring Andrew Little, son of offensive coordinator Darren Little. And Andrew, tell us what it's like having your dad, the offensive coordinator of the team, kind of that extra information you get from him.
Well, I got to be careful with what I say. Not giving away too much, but it is nice to have another big football fan in the house. Shares knowledge with me, even though I don't play the game. Still get to pick his brain a little bit. And the Princeton defense has been stellar so far. You know, outside of that one amazing catch from Kobe Lewis, they're going to walk back out on the field. And the Comet offense is staying out there. 4 receivers lined up.
3 to the right, 1 to the left for Brown. Jones to his right coming out of the timeout. 4th and 8, they need to get the first. He looks right. And pass just out of bounds, so immediately Princeton is able to force a turnover on downs. And it looked like Mason started to get some momentum. But Princeton's defense holds strong. It'll take over at Mason's 40-yard line.
Yeah, and Larson Brown just overthrows Molnar a bit. Sticky coverage from number 22, Caleb Clark Glover. And now Princeton offense trotting out on the field. TJ Engelman lined up in the slot.
So now Princeton will take over. A bad snap. Lynn's able to keep it himself. Missed tackle. Will Ott missed him, but Caden Davis finally able to bring him down to the backfield. So what looked like it was a broken play for both teams at a certain point. That'll be a loss of 6 for Princeton.
Yeah, disaster averted there for Princeton. The ball went off of Lynn's hands. He tried to make a play, missed tackle from the Comets, but able to bring him down for a 6-yard loss.
They've thrived so far in long distance needed situations. Rolling out to his left, Makai Lynn was able to get to the original line.
Yeah, pushed out of bounds there by Jake Bates, who made that big stop on the first possession. Lynn got to scramble close to that original line of scrimmage. But this Comets defense, led by a lot of juniors. Lynn here gonna have to make a play on 3rd and 12. Turning back to him after missing those first 8 games.
He's been able to do that so far tonight, and he's rolling out to his right. Looking across the middle. Confusion from Caden Evans, who was in coverage, but really good coverage from him. Didn't know where the ball was, but they always tell you focus on the man, not the ball.
Yeah, and Evans with the stop there. Taking advantage of a miscommunication from the Princeton offense. Targeted Engelman, but just Engelman had no idea the ball was coming, forcing the punt.
So Princeton will punt for their first time today. Kobe Lewis back to receive for the Comets. On a 4th and 12. A nice punt. Lewis trying to fair catch. Inside his own 25, he dropped it. I think he was able to fall on it. Fortunately for Kobe Lewis, he had a big returning miscue earlier in the year.
Yeah, against Lakota East on a kickoff. Didn't grab the ball, almost played it like a punt return, and they ended up taking that and scoring. Right there, narrowly avoids a repeat of that. Now Lewis gonna come back out on the field at receiver. The Comets defense there made a stop. We'll see if Brown and company can convert.
It was the first 3 and out for Mason's defense in a while. Twins to the left, 1 to the right with Brown. And Sailors finally back into the game. A good sign for the Comets, and he rushes for 3.
Yeah, and the Comets, they're probably just going to try to run it down the throats of Princeton, take advantage of the pacing of this game. Princeton with their high-powered offense, we don't want to give them too many opportunities to score.
As we approach 1 minute left to go in the first quarter. First quarter that it seems like Princeton has controlled without any issues. Mason's got twins to both sides, no tight end formation. Sailor in the backfield. It'll be a handoff to him, finally able to get some room, be stopped just in front of the first down marker.
Yeah, not very typical when you don't have a tight end out there to run the ball up the middle, but the offensive line there blocks up some gaps for Sailors coming back in the game. Able to make a 3rd and short. And the Princeton defense is a tall task ahead. 3rd and short, need to stop this Comet offense who's starting to move the ball down the field pretty consistently.
It'll most likely be the last play of the first quarter. We'll see what Mason can do on 3rd and 1. Trips to the left, Sailors out for the first time in a receiver formation. It's going to be kept. That's Michael Molnar at quarterback. And there's going to be a horse collar, I believe, on Princeton to close out the first quarter. Usually when Molnar checks in that quarterback, you know it's going to be a run.
The Comets had a really weird formation out there. Molnar and Garnett were in the backfield, two typical receivers, and then Larson Brown, the quarterback, and Nick Sailors, the receiver, were lined up wide.
And to close out the first quarter, it'll be a first down plus a horse collar on Princeton. Mason looks to build on some momentum, but the Vikings take a 7-0 lead in the first quarter over the Mason Comets. Welcome back to Dwyer Field. Princeton on top 7-0. The quarterback, Kai Lynn, his first game since the injury.
After that penalty, we're going to have one more play in the first quarter with no time on the clock.
There was some confusion from both teams, Princeton and Mason, who headed back to the sideline. But there's one more play. 1st and 10, Mason's now in Princeton territory.
Comets again lined up with 4 receivers out wide.
This time it'll be the typical quarterback, Larson Brown, and the typical running back, Sailor, but it goes over the head of Brown, finally able to grab it, but taken down in the backfield by Anas Lugman. And with no penalty, no dirty laundry on the field, that will be what closes out the first quarter. So momentum shifts just in one play. Princeton still holds 7-0 lead over the Mason Comets on senior night.
On air or online, this is media for your community. This is ICRC-TV.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVD, publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
On air or online, this is media for your community. This is ICRC-TV.
Field on senior night and homecoming night for the Comets. They do trail the Vikings 7-0. On a touchdown from Lynn to Engelman. But Mason trying to drive here. Brown dropping back, looking to his receiver, Molnar. In and out of his hands, but there is a flag on the play. And the way the officials are pointing, it looks like it's going to be on the Comets. It's going to be an ineligible receiver downfield. One of the blockers for the Comets went too far.
In 2 straight plays where the Comets are going backwards, that they had a sack from Lugman, the GMC leader, on that first down at the end of the first quarter with no time left. And then there, the penalty. Going to force a 3rd and very long.
So like I said, it looked like they were drawing momentum, but now they'll be forced to try to come up with something on a 3rd and 20. Most likely not 4-down territory for the Comets, so they might have to look big here. With trips to the left and Molnar, the lone receiver to the right of Brown. Takes the snap. Rush coming from the edge, and they're going to get Brown. That's Anas Lugman again.
I think that's his 2nd or 3rd sack of the game. Princeton just got a ton of pressure there. Brown had a couple guys open on the left side of the field, notably Molnar and Sailors, but just gets hit before he can get the ball off.
And Princeton's defense, when it looked like Mason was starting to figure him out, comes back strong. A lot of that due to Anas Lugman. Molnar gets tasked with his second punt of the game. This one going out of bounds at about the 34.
Now the Princeton offense going to trot back on the field. Comet defense needs to get another stop here. First drive, they kind of got schooled by Lynn. Had a bit of trouble getting back in, but made that huge throw to Engelman. And then second drive, the Comets defense, they made a couple plays. Got out early with a sack.
Twins to the left, Engelman in motion. It's going to be a handoff to TJ Engelman, his brother. TJ Engelman able to get pretty good yardage. Going to be brought down just in front of the first down marker. JC Deaton, the junior, making the play.
Yeah, Engelman, they continue to find ways to use the sophomore's athleticism. You know, even if it's not at quarterback, at receiver, at running back, they're going to find a way to get the ball in his hands.
Shotgun formation once again. It'll be a handoff to Engelman. He will get the first down, but there's a penalty flag on the field.
Yeah, a couple moves there from Engelman gave him the first down. But the penalty flag likely a holding as the Princeton Vikings are backing up.
So we back him up 10 yards. Force a 2nd and 14.
Yeah, and a really nice move from Engelman, but amounts to nothing after the penalty.
So trips to the right now for Lynn. It'll be a handoff once again. This time it's not to Engelman, it's to Maurice Borden.
Yeah, and Bowden, he is their traditional running back, second on the team in rushing yards behind Engelman. He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. The senior, probably coming into the year, expected more of a workload, but just the breakout of TJ Engelman has kept him off the field a little bit.
No position safe on your team when your best player can do anything, anywhere. It'll be twins to both sides now. For Lynn. Lynn dropping back. He's got a lot of time. Stepping up in the pocket, looking deep, and overthrew his receiver, Rodney Harris, once again. Michael Molnar in coverage.
Yeah, number 7 on number 7 there. Michael Molnar playing both ways now since he moved over to receiver. Makes a big play, and Lynn showing off some of that arm talent that got him some D1 offers there. Heaves that ball out. It was a good throw, but Molnar just gets in front of him, prevents the big play.
If Molnar was anywhere else on that play, Harris would have made that catch, but able to get in the perfect spot. And another 3 and out for Mason after that first drive where they looked a little flat on defense.
A timeout from the Vikings, their first of the game.
They're going to talk some things over. Confusion on the punt. Jordan Houston, if they come back out with that punt formation, it'll be his second punt of the game.
And now that's back-to-back drives where the Comets defense has stopped Lynn and Engelman. They've gotten a little bit of help from penalties and miscues. They had that botched snap last drive, but that's what you need to do on defense. Take advantage of what the offense gives you, especially when you're playing a high-powered team like the Princeton Vikings. You know, they probably have the 2 best quarterbacks in the GMC on their roster.
Certainly 2 that are towards the top. TJ Engelman moved over to running back for today's game to make room for Micaiah Lynn. But Engelman is no stranger to that running back position. Houston back in point formation for Princeton. Deep to receive for the Comets. It's going to be Garnett and Lewis. Coming up to fair catch can be Kobe Lewis. This time able to field it cleanly after some contacts made. That's going to draw another flag by Princeton.
Now Princeton, the team starting to make some mistakes. We saw earlier the Comets, 2 fumbles. Thankfully they didn't lose them. And then the holding penalty that took back Sailor's big run. But now Princeton, the holding call that took away the first down. And they're getting to Lewis, even though he fair caught it. Starting to give this game away a bit. Only a 7-0 lead in the second quarter of the Comets' homecoming and senior night. You know they're motivated to get a win against their GMC rival.
We talked about it earlier. Very rarely do you see homecoming at night and senior night on the same night. That just adds to the energy for the Comets. Plus, they're going to be motivated after that tough loss, a close one to Fairfield last week. But they're coming back out on the field with a 1st and 10. Starting in Princeton territory at the Viking 45. Immediately, a screen pass to Garnett, but he slips. Once again, fortunately for Brown, there was no cornerback for Princeton that was there in time to intercept it. But Garnett lost his footing, and that could have been dangerous.
Yeah, Raheem Warren for the Cardinals was coming in hot on that ball. And then Kastner, got to be thankful that didn't happen. And Ben, I want to talk a little bit more about that Fairfield game. Coach Kastner was not happy with the way they finished off that game. So coming into the week, he's been pushing that we need to play hard mentality.
Second down, stuffed up at the line of scrimmage, Michael Molnar. When Michael Molnar's in there, it's most likely going to be a run, and Princeton caught on to that.
Yeah, the Vikings are biting hard every time Molnar receives the snap. And there, it's number 44, Ty Carter, who makes the stop.
Third and 12 now. Mason not able to get anything going on their first 2 plays. We'll have trips to the left, most likely going to need a big play. Questionable 4-down territory, but Brown rolling out to his left. Receiver trying to dive for it is Kobe Lewis, but just a tough spot for him. He wasn't able to get to that. 4th and 12 now.
Yeah, not a lot of space for Lewis. And again, Raheem Warren, the cornerback, makes the play there with the pass breakup on Lewis. Brown scrambled out, threw it, got hit just a little bit low. Warren staying in front of Lewis. Gonna force the punt. The Comets got the ball in Princeton territory, and they're gonna have to punt it. Not what you want.
Molnar, his 3rd punt of the game. Gonna have to do something to get away from the defenders, and it's a weird punt, but it just seems like it always works out for Molnar when he's back 15 yards to punt. And Princeton will be forced to start inside their own 15.
Yeah, Molnar almost got tackled before he even got the punt off there, but it works out. The Comets are able to down it around the 12. And here we see Princeton tackling the punter. You very rarely see that. Just able to get it off the side of his foot, and he gets a couple lucky bounces.
Well, it's not rushing the kicker because he made contacts before Molnar was able to kick it away. So very rare play there from Princeton, but Mason, it works out for them. Princeton will start now, not great field position. It'll be a fake and a handoff to Engelman. Or excuse me, that's Steele. Able to get a 1st down and more. Imani Steele, his first rush of the game.
Yeah, but going into the season, it's been Bowden and Steele, the 2-headed monster at running back now. Engelman switching positions, we're not seeing that as much, but there a lot of nice blocks. There was one on Jake Bates that gave Steele a lot of space. Finally, the Comets secondary able to bring him down.
They're going to try that pitch pass again to Engelman, but not the same result. Mason's there to stop him. Only after a couple.
Yeah, linebacker Caden Evans there, just tracking the ball, able to get the tackle.
2nd and 8 coming up now for Princeton. Steele will stay in the game in the backfield. Lynn with Engelman in motion. It's going to be Steele again. His name called on this time. Able to get what they need to get a first down.
And Steele, he's a smaller guy, only 5'5", showing off his explosiveness there. Just had a couple steps, then shot the gap, able to get a first down.
So two runs for Steele in this game and 2 first downs. First and 10 now for Princeton. Dropping back is Lynn, looking deep. Got a receiver on the right side, that's Harris. Harris finally able to come down with one. And it's 6 for the Vikings. The connection from Lynn to Harris.
Yeah, and Harris, a fellow 3-star recruit, 6'3", 200 pounds. They've been trying to get it to him all night. Molnar's kind of been locking him down. But Lynn launches that ball deep, and Harris just had plenty of space after beating Molnar.
So after Harris's 2nd reception of the game, 1st touchdown, Princeton tries the extra point, but it's a bad snap, and they won't be able to get anything across. So 13-0, the score stands.
That's the 3rd botch snap we've seen so far. 2 from the Vikings, 1 from the Comets. It was raining a little bit earlier. Maybe the field or the ball a little wet. I don't know. It's been dry for a while, but some sloppiness so far. And showing you that play, Lynn with that huge pass, and Harris using his side just goes over Zach Rogers and Michael Molnar, makes them miss, and runs in for the easy touchdown. And that run in might have been easy, but that catch couldn't be farther from that. What an unreal play from Harris.
Princeton playing consistent, playing steady. They have the worst pass defense in the GMC, but they've been able to hold Brown and the Comets so far. Back to kick will be Walker again for Princeton. As Mason gets ready to try to answer. Kicks away, taken by Lewis down the sideline. It'll be brought out to about the 28-yard line. Comets take over with 7:24 left to go in the half.
Watch you guys.
And they'll have the ball at the 27, so not as strong a field position as they had last possession. Weren't able to take advantage of it. That Princeton defense was able to hold them. The Comets need to get some momentum here.
A score and a stop could totally turn that momentum around. And it starts here. 1st and 10 at the 28 for Mason. Brown takes over with Garnett in motion. It'll be a pitch to Garnett once again, just like the first play of the game, but this time Garnett swallowed up in the backfield. Caleb Clark Glover and Honest Lugman. We've heard those two names a lot so far today on Princeton's defense.
Yeah, Lugman in particular, the senior linebacker, has been all over the field. He's got a pair of sacks and a few tackles for loss. In addition to that, the Comets just not able to run the ball on this Vikings defense.
We'll see if they can change that. 2nd and 13 with trips to the left of Brown. It'll be a handoff to Sailors, who's able to advance at about 3. But Princeton does have that #1 run defense in the GMC.
Yeah, the Comets, again, another run up the middle. They don't get many yards on it, and you're going against the worst pass defense in the league with the best run defense. You'd think the game plan would be to throw the ball a little bit more. So far, Brown's passes just haven't been accurate. He's been getting hit a lot, too. A lot of pressure coming from that Princeton front 7 that's also making plays in the run game.
To pass, you're going to need your offensive line to hold the D-line. Looks like they'll try it here. Twins to both sides, and Brown's looking to the right side, and catch is made. Michael Molnar advances it into Viking territory. Just as you were mentioning, Mason should maybe pass it more. Molnar is able to come up big.
And Larson Brown, just perfect placement there on that ball. And they're in the hurry up now.
The regular rushes weren't working. So they're going to try a hurry up rush, but still nothing doing. Sailor stuffed at the line of scrimmage by Lugman.
Yeah, going back to that first down, or that catch from Molnar that they rolled in the first down, he had 3 or 4 defenders around him, so he didn't have much space. But Brown, perfect placement, gets it to Molnar, is able to move a couple yards. Now 2nd and 10.
Brown under center. Kaler in his wing on the left side. It's going to be a handoff this time to the right side to Nick Sailors, who's able to power through and get a couple, but not much, with some dirty laundry on the field.
And Ben, this is starting to look like a Bengals game. Run, run, pass so far on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd downs. We've seen a lot.
And it will be a hold on Mason. So it's never a great combination when you can't get anything going on the run game. And you also...
Coach Kastner not happy with that. The Vikings defense being handed some things right now from the Comet offense. That offensive line needs to step up. Mikey Jones in at running back, the sophomore.
It'll be 2nd and 20 now with trips to the left of Brown. Like you mentioned, Jones in. Garnett's in motion going behind Brown. It's going to be a fake pitch. We haven't seen that yet, and met behind the line and brought down way deep in Mason territory.
And that's Mikey's Humphrey Grace. He's 2nd in the GMC in sacks behind his teammate Lugman. 4.5, 6'4", 225. Another one of these big linebackers. And just a big hit there. Throws Larson Brown to the ground. He's taking a beating so far. 3rd and 29.
So a 3rd and way long. If the Comets want any shot at a first down, they're going to have to look deep. They do have twins on both sides. Some movement. I think that will be on Mason and Brian Egbert, who just came in as the running back. That's never a good sign.
And more sloppiness from the Comets. A couple penalties and then the sack on this drive. 3rd and 34. Really putting your offense and your defense in a hole, because if you don't convert here, it's unlikely you're going to give Princeton some pretty good territory.
They'll come in with the same formation. Egbert still in the game at running back. No one in the backfield. It'll be a screen pass to Egbert. And Egbert met a big hit made by Caleb Clark Glover, but there is a flag on the play.
And Egbert took a big hit there. Clark Glover rings the boom on that hit. Their defense is hyped up. There is a penalty here. On the screen, that ball was in the air for a long time. In the pulling guard for the Comets.
And it is a targeting on Princeton.
Wow, you rarely see that in high school football. So a big play comes at a huge cost.
Clark Glover laying the hammer, but it's going to cost them and give Mason an automatic first down. Huge play for the Comets.
Yeah, and Ben Craven's there, the guard for the Comets, got beat by Clark Glover, who delivered that huge hit on Egbert, but led with his head. Can't do that. And that turns what would have been a huge third down stop into a little bit better positioning for the Comets.
Garnett in motion, he's going to head back. And there's a stoppage of play. Castor wants to talk some things over and take a timeout beforehand. That's their second timeout of the half. With 3 minutes left to go till the intermission.
Princeton talking it over with their head coach, Andre Parker. The Black Hole showing out tonight in their Love Like JJ shirts, supporting the late Comet third grader. The Comet sideline right now, not a lot of energy after those big stops from the Princeton defense. 3rd and 20 here.
Even though it's a game that's not totally out of hand for the Comets, it's hard to get energy going when you can't get any offense going. Points on the board equals energy and momentum, and Mason hasn't been able to get that yet.
Yeah, really, it's just been that one throw to Kobe Lewis on 3rd down. Other than that, the Comets have not been able to move the ball.
So they're coming out now, 3rd and 20. Little better position for the Comets. Brown having to roll right and just take it himself out of bounds. Comets wanted a flag again, but they're going to say no. Brown thought he got hit after he went out of bounds, but the officials disagree. We're going to take a look here, as that does look like a clean play.
Yeah, a lot of pressure there. Brown just scrambles out, and as he's heading out of bounds, the Vikings defender just ensures that he doesn't make a play upfield.
Vince McQueen was the one who made the play for the Vikings. And Molnar, who has been beautiful all year at the punter position, will have another opportunity here with 2:18 left to go in the first half. Punts up, can be a fair catch. And dropped inside the 30-yard line. That'll be controlled by the Mason Comets. Jake Bates runs away with it, a muffed punt.
And the Black Hole getting some energy now after that play. Jake Bates, the star linebacker, capitalized on it. Not only is he the leading tackler in the GMC, he's a menace on special teams. Gets down there before anybody. Crowds number 22, Clark Glover there on that fair catch attempt, and he muffs it, and Bates is able to come up with it, bailing out their offense.
I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Weston Simmons there, also intimidating the return man for Princeton, getting right in his face.
Yeah, 2 junior defensive stars there making plays on special teams.
First and 10 for Mason now, inside Princeton territory. New life for the Comets before halftime. Brown fakes left, looking deep for Molnar. Molnar gets up and gets it. Touchdown, Michael Molnar. It looked like he had no chance for that one.
And that play looked a little familiar. Molnar got beat on the big catch from the other number 7, Rodney Harris Jr., but there delivers with a huge touchdown catch of his own. The Black Hole getting hyped. We saw Evan Amazon, a sports radio member, and here Michael Molnar goes up over Justin Wimpy, tied for the GMC lead in interceptions with 3, and Jacob Hernandez, the soccer player, his extra point is good on senior night. He's had 2 senior nights in the last week. How many kids can say that?
It's true. Hernandez, there was a story on him in the Chronicle today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure writing about Jacob. He's got a great story. Talked about not allowed to play football as a kid, so he turned to soccer, and now in his senior year decided he wanted to come out and try to be a kicker. His coach, his soccer coach, is very supportive. And there, Molnar with a huge catch. Coach Setti, one of the special teams coaches, works with Hernandez. He was in my story as well, talking with the special teams unit after they just made that huge play.
And oftentimes, special teams is overlooked in the big picture of a football game, but they're making a difference certainly here. Forcing that fumble, getting Mason the ball inside their own 30, and that's all Larson Brown and Michael Molnar need.
Ryan Ruminski, the kickoff, he's got a big leg. The Comets like to use a bit of a rotation with their kickers. Ruminski, kickoff, Hernandez, extra points, and it's a squib kick. As we find the ball, Engelman, who had the touchdown earlier, is going to be brought down. The Comets are a little scared of his playmaking abilities, so they squib it, but he's still able to field it with some open space.
Princeton will take over 1st and 10. Their own 23-yard line.
And squibs it, yeah, there. Engelman fields it about the 4-yard line. The first Comets defender misses him.
Well, a bunch of Princeton blockers elected to not block anyone. But Princeton won't have a lot of time here to go for a drive before halftime, get a screen pass out. That's Engelman down the left side. Gonna get the first down.
And Mikey Jones gets the stop there. We talked about him a little bit earlier, playing running back as well. But they threw it there to Jaleel Engelman, who just returned that kick, and they'll get it back to him.
It'll be Engelman again. This time down the right side, and he won't get the first, but decent yardage here. 2nd and 4 coming up for Princeton, using Engelman back-to-back on screens.
Yeah, the linebackers there, Bates and Evans, the 2 leading tacklers in the GMC, able to stop Engelman before he can get the first down. 2nd and 3 now.
Snap taken, Lynn. Fakes a pass, gonna have to get out and escape pressure. Looking for that first down marker, spin move made. And he'll eventually get there. He is a hard guy to make contact with and a hard guy to bring down.
Yeah, Lynn showing off his athleticism here with the pump fake. Doesn't see any open receivers, so he just takes off with it. Gets past Bates. And a nasty spin move there on J.C. Deaton to get out of bounds. There's a reason Buffalo recruited this guy. And another pump fake.
This time looking right side. It's Harris again. Rodney Harris is getting going, and Michael Molnar eventually to bring him down inside the 10. But Princeton didn't have a lot of time for a drive. But they're doing exactly what they needed to do. Dangerous offense and a dangerous duo, Lynn to Harris.
And Zach Rogers, smaller guy, about 5'8". Harris, 6'3", a mismatch there. Gets the big play. And now Lynn.
Looking left at the pylon, and he's in. Makai Lynn runs it in for his 2nd touchdown of the game. His first rushing.
Yeah, and Lynn just took over at the end of that drive with a big pass to Harris, his favorite target, and then the run. But all that was prefaced by his 3rd down run where he juked out a couple Comet defenders and then had that spin move to really capitalize the first down.
So the kick is up from Walker, and it's good. A 20-7 lead now for Princeton.
Just when we thought the Comets might have some momentum, they just get one more stop. You know, they were only down 6 on the scoreboard. Makai Lynn answers with a touchdown of his own, putting them back up 13-20-7 now. 33 seconds remain in the 2nd quarter.
I get in your way, let me know. I can work around you.
Mason finally were able to get some momentum and energy after the score, but quickly taken away. Kai Lynn and Rodney Harris. throw Engelman in there as well, the dynamic trio. Or you can throw both Engelmans in there. The big four for Princeton's offense today.
Yeah, and then you have to take into account the senior running back Steele and Bowden. Princeton just has so many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. It's really hard to stop them. This game might turn into a track meet in the second half.
Walker will kick off again. Not much time for the Comets to conjure up anything. 33 seconds, a squib kick off the arms, the legs of a Comet. And it's going to go Princeton's way.
Princeton just had a special teams miscue of their own, and now the Comets have one. Princeton able to pick that one up. So disaster for Mason. You don't want to give Mekhi Lynn the ball back. He's really hot right now after that touchdown. And if they're able to score here, they might put this one away. The Comet defense now has to get back out on the field. No rest for them. Could be getting a little tired. And another guy featured in today's edition of the Chronicle, number 52, Aaron Spears there.
Spears making a big difference for the Comets on and off the field as only a junior. Princeton will have 28 seconds, but Mason wants to talk some things over first. Their third and final timeout taken.
This timeout will give Princeton a little bit more time to think over their offensive possession and then a little bit more breathing room because they weren't expecting to get the ball back so soon. The turnover on that kickoff. Probably expected to go into the half before they had to think about offensive play calling again. So here, little side at midfield, if they can conjure up a play to put the Comets down even more on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's very fortunate that Princeton can get this break without having to burn a timeout of their own.
The Comet defense also getting a little bit of a break. They were just out on the field. And a crucial drive here. You can't go down more than 2 scores, especially to a team like Princeton.
Beautiful showing on homecoming and senior night on Mason's side of the field.
Yeah, there were some questions, if it was going to rain, but it hasn't affected the attendance here. Packed stadium.
Coming out of the timeout, Lynn will take the ball and drop back. He's going to have to roll to his right, looking across the first down marker, caught by Engelman. Engelman's inside the 30, finally be forced out of bounds, but not for about a 20-yard pickup from Lynn to Jaleel Engelman.
Engelman, again, they continue to get him the ball in space, able to get the first down and more. Now in the 27, you're in field goal range. Take a 16-point lead.
19 seconds to go on the clock. Clock is stopped after out of bounds. Bobbled snap, but finally taken. Rolling out to his right, looking deep. Is it Harris again? And it is. Rodney Harris somehow able to get a foot down and reel that one in. The 3-star recruit. He's got his second touchdown of the game.
And Harris had a quiet first quarter. We were starting to wonder when he and Lynn were going to get on the same page. Well, they answered 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. They're dominating, especially with that deep ball going up over the Comets defenders, using his 6'3" frame, giving the Vikings a 20-point lead pending this extra point.
Extra point coming and will be good from Cole Walker. So what a turn of events here for the Comets. They scored a touchdown from Brown to Molnar with just a couple minutes left. And we're only down 6, but then Princeton responds with 2 quick touchdowns. This one to Rodney Harris, a superhuman play off of the bobbled snap from Lynn. There's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Princeton. That'll be enforced at the kickoff.
We saw that a couple weeks ago against Dakota West. Actually very similar. Jair Brown, their star commit, was able to get a touchdown just before halftime and then got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty going into the half. Coach Parker got to be happy with the way his team has played in the second quarter. You know, a few mistakes, a little bit of a sloppiness, but still able to have that 20-point lead on the scoreboard. And his quarterback, Mekhi Lynn, coming off that injury, is making plays. The Comets defense only able to get so many stops here. And now one more chance on special teams. Maybe they'll go back to that trickery they tried with the opening kickoff.
Really a perfect 2 minutes of football for Princeton. And they still got 9 seconds left. We'll see if they can get anything here, but most likely just going to be content with holding Mason from any miraculous play before halftime. Walker, he's had a lot of work today. And he'll be back to kick once again, most likely going to see a squib. And it is, this time, taken cleanly by Caden Evans, who gets it into Princeton territory, but stopped right after.
So 5.8 seconds on the clock, about the 50-yard line. The Comets can take a shot here. Michael Molnar made that play in the end zone earlier. Larson Brown, he's got a cannon for an arm, so we could see a Hail Mary here. If the Comets score, that would totally change the momentum of this game. You know, still be down a couple scores, but a little bit more of a morale booster going into the half.
Brown heading back out onto the field for the Comets. Most likely will look deep with trips to the right and one receiver to the left of the junior quarterback. Snap taken with 5 seconds, clock winding down. A quick pass and a shuttle. Given to Syed Garnett down the sideline. He's got some room, but can be forced out of bounds with zeros on the clock. So that's your score at halftime. 27-7, Princeton, a flawless last 2 minutes. A couple of miraculous plays to take a 3-score lead over Mason at halftime. We'll be back for second half action here from Dwyer Field.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to ICRC-TV Sports. Three-pointer. Got it! In for the Comets score. Win! Comets win! Yeah!
So that leaves us with the next item on our agenda is item number 5, opening session.
I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. If you're out here at the parade or listening, thank you again.
Into the end zone, and that is caught by Jaden Wood.
Come on now, how we doing? Y'all feeling all right out there?
Hello and welcome to this edition of This is Glendale. I'm Bet Chorus.
Hey guys, this is Unit 1 crew from Woodlawn Fire Department. We just want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And of course, you can always go to the ICRC-TV.com.
Always a great day when ICRC is involved.
Another edition of ICRC, bringing the community to you.
Welcome to another edition of Viking Voices, the people of Princeton. I certainly appreciate the great partnership with ICRC to host. And behind the cameras today, we have our amazing interns. So appreciate Dwayne and Cody again for coming back this year as they've done actually for the last 3 years. Last year looked a little bit different, but it's great to be back in person. With us today, our new football coach, Coach Andre Parker. Coach, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Coach, big switch coming over. What do you think about Viking Nation so far?
I think it's awesome. I think it's all about the P.
What are some specific things you're working on right now to develop that tradition, bring kind of back some of the things? I know Coach Daniels did a great job and the other coaches, but previously, but like what are you trying to instill in our kids?
I am trying to I'm trying to teach them history. I think with this generation, a lot of times they don't understand the history of where Princeton comes from and what Princeton means. So I'm trying to get as many of the old guys around as I can and help them understand what Princeton means, what the horns mean. So those things are exciting. The kids are starting to get it. They're starting to take pride in it.
Well, Coach, I know that there's a legendary coach out there that you've talked to, Coach Mancuso. So what are some nuggets that you've gleaned off some of the conversations you've had with Coach Mancuso?
Our first conversation, he wowed me. Because I know he's in his 90s, and he's like, no, Coach, I still work out 3-4 days a week. I get up early in the morning, me and my wife, we go get after it. And I'm like, wow. Just his work ethic, the attention to detail, the way his former players talk about him, the way they said that he cared and loved them. And I've talked to quite a few that still talk to him every week. So that's huge.
Yeah. Coach, we know that your job here, we've talked so much before. Like, I think you do a great job coaching. But there's a whole nother side. The vast majority of your day is another job. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So essentially, I'm a secondary support for the students at the high school and middle school. So what I've been doing in these first few weeks is really building relationships with the kids, getting them to trust me. So if they have issues or if there's any way that I can help them, that they know that my office is open and they can come to me. So we're currently going through lists and finding kids that we know we're going to need more support and going about it that way.
Yeah, and when we were talking, I asked lots of questions about what it is that you do during the course of the day. You've done a great job thus far. Really excited about the supports that you're going to bring to our school district and specifically our students. What are some things that you think our kids in general or students in general should really focus on as they try to look to the future?
I think just bettering themselves every day. I think we got enough craziness in the world, and if they get caught up into that, you can become depressed or you can start worrying about the future. I think we got to take it day by day, and we have to keep pressing forward.
Coach,
Well, last question. This is definitely my kryptonite. I don't know that I could work here as much as you girls are amazing, but what is your best seller? When people walk in here, what is it that they're really looking for? Is it your cookies, your donuts? What's the best seller?
I'd probably say donuts.
I would say donuts. That's a hard question.
Birthday cakes? No.
We have a lot of the cake because our cakes are scratch made here. Our buttercream icing is made here. I think we take a lot of pride in everything we make. And our cakes, you have people all the time, the flowers.
It's not right.
Yeah.
We do, and anybody makes mistakes, and it bothers us. It's not like, it bothers us that somebody wasn't happy with
the product.
But I think the one thing people don't understand is how incredibly physically hard this job is in the back.
Lifting trays, cooking, pans, whatever it takes to get the job done. Yeah.
But it's what it is.
It is what it is, and it's a great thing that
at least we're working with family. I mean, there are times when we're,
But I think we're lucky too because we have a lot of the same. Like, I can remember because I do a lot of the cakes. and you talking about you bringing, I remember you bringing your kids in here, and now your grandkids are coming. I do. I remember your son.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now I'll have a cake come through, like a graduation cake, and I'm thinking, oh my
They
God.
can't be
They
graduating.
can't be you know what I'm saying? So we have so
Right.
many of it, like families
Generations.
and then generations.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we do see now, especially with Harrison building up as much as it is, we have a lot of new families,
Yeah.
you know, from the newer homes of Perks of Whitewater, from, you know, we have a lot of newer families that come in a lot of times on the weekends, especially Saturday and Sundays. She doesn't work in the store on Sundays, so she would probably not know
the faces.
Yeah, but I see them and I'm like, hey, glad you guys came back. We have a lot of new faces too.
Yeah.
We really do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you know, the Harrison Chamber is going to be nominating different businesses for different categories.
Given up by the 7 times, I let you twist me up and get me so out of line, but it's not enough. Just wanting something better. No, I should just be grateful for the things that I have. And I'm hanging around, and I call it quits because all that I found is that I can't help falling in love, and I can't tell you what's enough. Well, I think that anyone could tear my heart to spill, and I know if they can, that they will. So now I'm sitting here in my basement again, just thinking about how this next one's going to end. And for me to know it's not for you to care. I know it's not that tough, but it still ain't fair. How I can't help falling in love. I can't tell you what's enough. Well, I know that anyone could tear my heart to spill, and I know if they can,
Angela Bazari-Flugrath. Angela Bazari-Flugrath was a member of the 2006 graduating class. Angela Flugrath left her mark on Mason as the most decorated athlete in the school's history. She earned 8 varsity letters between cross country and track, helping Mason to its first ever team state title in girls track and field in 2004. Angela was 11-time FAVC champion, a 13-time district champion, 12-time regional champion, and an 8-time state champion. I'll say it again, 8-time state champion. That's pretty good. She earned 7 of her 8 state titles in individual running events, with 2 coming from cross country. She was named FAVC Runner of the Year 5 times, Southwest Ohio Runner of the Year 4 times, and First Time All-Ohio 7 times. She held 7 Mason High School records and 3 Greater Cincinnati records upon graduation. Today, the best runners in the state of Ohio come to Mason Invite to participate in the Bazari Mile, an annual running event held in her honor. After high school, Angela went on to the University of Illinois, where she became a 3-time NCAA Division I champion and 9-time All-American. She held 7 records for the Illini and was inducted into the Illinois Hall of Fame in 2019. Today, Angela lives out west in Fresno, California, with her husband, Carl. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bazari, are here tonight. Angela could not be with us tonight, but we have her on video. There's Angela.
I want to start off by taking the time to say how honored I feel to be inducted into the Mason High School Athletic Hall of Fame. I am particularly honored to be inducted with such an amazing group of people and athletes, one of whom was my teammate. This award has me reflecting on my time as an athlete, specifically at Mason. I played sports for a long time. I played in high school, collegiately, and professionally, and some of my best memories are from my time at Mason High School. I don't always remember specifically my times at Mason or the specific races. It really went by so fast. But what I do remember are the fun times with amazing people. I remember summer long runs with friends, afterward having bagels and chatting. I remember the long bus rides after successful meet, full of laughter. I remember the 4x800 winning as a team. I think sport was really helpful for me to gain confidence in myself. I was shy as a high schooler and still particularly kind of quiet. And sports taught me that I can set a big goal and take small daily steps to get there. I really fell in love with sports at Mason High School, and confidence in myself grew. And I will forever be proud to be a Mason High School graduate and a Comet. I wanted to take a second to thank some of those people who made my time at Mason such a positive experience, some of whom are here today. They include both Kelly and Tony Affatato for their continual support and enthusiasm. They really helped make track and field such a positive experience for me. All the fun I had with my teammates, it couldn't be done without them. And then finally, I want to spend the time thanking my parents for being supportive in both athletics and life. Again, I just wanted to say thank you so much for inducting me into the Hall of Fame with such an amazing group of people. Go Comets!
Let's hear one more round of applause for all of our inductees.
Looking forward to walking the park.
Yeah, it should be a fun day.
So Ted, right now we are standing inside the park where we will have several gateways, one being at 5 points at Main and Lila, and a couple on either Main Street and on the Lila side.
Yeah.
And it'll be this great green area where people can come in and just enjoy the day.
Absolutely.
And there's going to be meandering paths with tree line that will provide shade. And also there's swings and Adirondack chairs.
And I think somewhere in this area there's going to be the water feature as well, which you've mentioned before, what a great draw that'll be for both the community and people outside the community, and really a crown jewel for the city itself.
Yeah.
And then in addition to the community involvement or people being able to visit locally, this is the center of both the downtown business district as well as the uptown business district. So whether you want to come here as a family or you just want to take a lunch break when you're working here, it's going to be a great place to come.
And it is also part of the Dora, right? So people can grab their beverage at one of the local establishments here and have a really great setting to hang out in and relax as they're making their way either downtown or uptown.
Yep. It'll be great.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I play sports for my school, I will have more confidence. I will get better grades.
I will learn how to show good sportsmanship.
I will be more physically fit. I will learn how to handle wins and losses in sports and in life. I will have more school spirit.
I'll learn how to work together. I will learn to set goals and work to reach them.
I'll make good decisions off the field. If I play sports for my school. If I play sports for my school.
If I play sports for my school,
I will learn how to be a leader.
The year was 1907. The Cubs won the World Series and the Ford Model R hit the assembly line. While here in Ohio, school administrators came together to form the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One thing that hasn't changed since 1907 is the dedication of the OHSAA to education-based athletics in Ohio. School sports teach responsibility, sportsmanship, and life lessons that stay with students long after their playing days are over. The OHSAA seeks to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to ICRC-TV Sports. Three-pointer. Got it! In for the Comets score.
Win! The Comets win! Yeah!
online. This is media for your community. This is ICRC-TV.
Welcome back to Dwyer Field on Senior Night for Mason. I'm Ben Haller alongside my partner Andrew Little. And Coach Andre Parker's got his Vikings up 27-7 heading into the second half.
The big story of the game so far has been the return of Mekhi Lynn, the star senior quarterback for the Vikings, coming back off of an arm injury. He's been out since week 1. Sophomore TJ Engelman came in, filled that spot nicely, dominated, but moved to a running back role now, and Lynn, he has 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, as well as 1 on the ground. So he has not wasted any time getting back to this.
248 yards to only 2 receivers. Jaleel Engelman has 114 yards receiving, while the senior Rodney Harris with 134. He's got a pair of touchdowns to go along with it. We'll see if they continue that success in the air in the second half. They will receive the second half kickoff from Minsky. Another squib kick be taken inside the 10. Brought out to about the 35-yard line. A nice return there from Caleb Clark Glover.
Yeah, and Clark Glover does a nice job there of just staying on his feet, refusing to go down, making Comet defenders miss, and gets all the way to the 36, giving his offense nice starting position. And Mekhi Lynn is out on the field now. 4 touchdowns already.
4 touchdowns, all-purpose. In motion is Engelman. Lynn fakes and keeps it himself for a gain of about 4.
There, Princeton uses Engelman as a decoy on the jet sweep. Lynn takes it himself, runs it for just a couple yards. The Comets recognized that he was keeping it.
Shotgun snap once again, this time given to the receiver, running back to the right. And that's Maurice Gordon, who's able to bring it out to about the 45-yard line, set up a 3rd and 2.
And Gordon, one of those many bodies in the Princeton backfield.
It'll be a fake to him and a screen pass out to TJ Engelman. He's got some room down the sideline, got the first and way more. Brings it out, finally pushed out before the 30-yard line. But the connection of Lynn to Engelman.
And Engelman, the sophomore, starting to make some more plays as they continue to get it to him in space. Gets the first down there.
Princeton had 12 first downs just in the first half to Mason's 8. They'll look for another with a couple of running backs in the backfield. Shotgun snap, it's given to Borden. Borden breaks a tackle, breaking through the Comet defender. That's Simmons able to hold on to stop him at a gain of 6.
Going into this game, Borden was the second leading rusher for the Vikings behind Engelman. Now in the second half of the 20-point lead, I expect to see the senior a lot more out there. Only had 1 carry in the first half. He's already beaten that total.
Shotgun snap, this time a fake, keeps it himself. Gets the first down inside the 10. A nice rush there from Mekhi Lynn.
Just so athletic there. Effortless run, getting the first down. with the option. A nice juke move. Gets out of bounds about the 10. It's going to be first and goal now.
Shotgun snap. This time a handoff and a big hit made by Jake Bates. We've seen that a couple times from him today. The overall consistency of Bates hasn't been what it usually is, but there's been no shortage of big plays for him. A big hit delivered to Maurice Borden in the backfield.
Yeah, Bates had 6 tackles in the first half, as well as the fumble recovery on special teams. Now, offsides by a ton of Comet defenders.
I think it'd be easier to say who didn't jump off sides for the Comets on that one. Really nice discipline and a nice fake from Princeton. Gives them a second and goal from the 9. In motion is Engelman. It's going to be a handoff to Borden. Stiff arm from Borden, and he puts it down. Caden Evans almost able to hold on and hangs on just long enough for his teammates to get there. But a nice, powerful stiff arm from the 5'9" Maurice Borden.
Yeah, and even though Borden got that stiff arm on Caden Evans, he was still able to keep his arms around him and allow some other Comet defenders there get a nice look at that stiff arm. He got just put to the ground, but grabs his feet, and Bryce Falk is able to bring him down.
You don't see that a lot of times from a guy who's 5'9", 175, but he packs a lot of punch. And Lynn now on 3rd and goal. Rolling out to his left, looking to the back of the end zone, incomplete. Nice coverage there from Weston Simmons.
Yeah, Simmons, the safety, rotates out in coverage there. Black Hole excited about that play. Yeah, Simmons made the nice play in coverage. And the Comet defensive line also got some pressure on Lynn, led by Will Ott, who was able to force Lynn outside.
So not the worst possible outcome for Mason, forcing Princeton to have to attempt a field goal. That's Cole Walker. And it's good. Walker's been perfect all day, and he puts the Vikings up 30-7 on the first drive in the second half. Beautiful snap, beautiful hold, and tucks it in the right upright.
23-point lead now. Princeton totally in control of this game. And their kicker's been very consistent.
But Princeton, it seems like offensively is just getting better and better with every drive. A little rough coming out in the second half. Nice job by Mason to hold him to only 3.
It was hard to imagine Princeton's offense getting any scarier after Engelman was leading the GMC in passing and rushing, but now that they got their star quarterback, the Buffalo commit, Makai Lynn, up 30-7 on a talented Comets team. And now Walker back out there after kicking the field goal for the kickoff. Saeed Garnett we see back there along with Kobe Lewis.
Walker the kicks away. Going to be taken by Garnett at about the 5. Bringing it out, making a move, and eventually going to be brought down inside the 20.
And Garnett hasn't gotten involved much in this game so far. Only 2 attempts rushing, no catches, 7 yards total. Princeton's defense done a nice job of not allowing the big play. The Comets love to go to Garnett for a jet sweep or a bubble screen.
Garnett had a really nice first play of the game, but that's about all we've seen from him. Mason's going to have to take some shots. They're down 23 with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Trips to the right for Brown. That's just going to be a handoff up the middle, given to Mikey Jones, the sophomore, really came in. Only able to pick up about 2.
Comet defense, or excuse me, the offense out there trying to make something happen. Larson Brown gonna need to start throwing the ball around a little bit more. Only 11 attempts in the first half.
2nd and 6 coming up for Mason. Handoff to Mikey Jones. Finally has some room. That's his first run for more than 5 yards today. And he's able to pick up the first.
And there, Saeed Garnett was in motion on that play. The Vikings defense directed a lot of their attention towards him, so Mikey Jones took advantage of that. Was able to get the first down. Now Quentin Kaler, the tight end, gonna check in along with Fosnot.
Looks like a power formation to the right side. Kaler in motion now. Under center is Brown. Handoff to Jones. And it wasn't able to do much. Jones still stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
that was Lugman who was able to come from the backside to make the play.
Lugman had a huge first half. A couple sacks. And Mikey Jones, not as much of a powerful runner, only a sophomore, still growing in. But Sailors, we haven't seen a lot of him. He got banged up a little bit on a long run that got called back due to holding. So we've seen a lot more of Jones and Molnar running the ball.
Under center again for the first time of the half. Brown drops back, looks to pass off the hands of the receiver, Michael Molnar. Nice pass break up by Maceo Powell.
Yeah, and Powell was one of many Vikings there to meet Molnar here. Brown slings it. It's a pretty good pass. Molnar gets his hands on it, but 35, 12, 11, 22, you can see just 4 Vikings right there on the ball. So even if Molnar had caught it, he probably would have gotten hit right away.
That brings up a 3rd and 11 for Mason. We're about halfway through the 3rd quarter. Garnett will be in motion. Brown rolling right with a lot of pressure. Trying to look downfield, doesn't have anything. He'll just take it out of bounds himself.
Not.
Really felt like a combined pressure sack from the secondary.
Yeah, not a great outcome there for Brown. You see his shoulder pad popped off on that hit. A lot of pressure, scrambles out. None of his receivers were open. And then scrambles out of bounds, but gets hit as well. But they're going to call defensive holding. Comets are going to catch a break there.
So what are the corners for Princeton? Held Michael Molnar. Fortunate outcome for Mason.
And Ben, you mentioned that being a little bit of a coverage sack. Well, that's why Molnar was getting held, so the primary option was not open. And Brown just had to scramble out of bounds. Now 3rd and 4. So much more manageable opportunity here.
Fosnot, the junior tight end, confused about the formation. Garnett is as well. He'll be out wide left, and Mason will have to take a timeout. I'm sure Kastner isn't happy.
And another one of Coach Little's trick formations there with Molnar in at quarterback, Mikey Jones, the running back, out wide, and then Saeed Garnett at running back. But there's confusion on the play as the Comets will have to take a timeout. This also gives the Vikings defense some more time to prep for what might be coming their way. They got a little bit of a sneak peek. Molnar at quarterback, and as we've seen so far today, when Molnar's at quarterback, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a run.
There is a lot of football left to be played, but it's slowly but surely slipping away from the Comets here. They're going to need to get something going soon. It starts on this 3rd and 4.
Not a ton of Vikings fans making the trip out to the Comet country.
A lot of that due to the weather. 3rd and 4 coming up out of the timeout for Mason. Trips to the right. Molnar, a quick dump screen to Saeed Garnett, who slips. That's the 2nd time he's had a big play where he's lost his footing. Maybe it's due to the wet conditions. We had some rain earlier.
Yeah, and there the Comets, they needed to convert. They were gifted the extra play after the defensive holding. 3rd and short, but can't convert. Now the punt team is coming out onto the field. And that's been the bright spot for this team so far, is Michael Molnar's punting.
It seems no matter how they're playing, that's been a consistency for Mason all year long. It's a special teams play. And the punt's out from Molnar, and it's another beauty. Bouncing inside the 20. Finally going to be touched down at about the 5-yard line.
Molnar, he was a quarterback, now he's a receiver and DB, star baseball player, star punter. As you can see, what can he do? But he is going to go off the field, so won't be in, at least to start this drive and defense. And the Comets, it's really just been big plays they've given up. Down to down, the consistency hasn't been there. And Rodney Harris Jr., the 6'3" receiver, 3-star recruit, has only 3 catches, but 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, one of those being a 60-yard bomb. The Comets just can't stop him. Engelman, the sophomore, who's been playing quarterback all year, is lined up behind the center.
Takes a shotgun snap, handoff to his running back in the backfield. I believe that was Maurice Borden. I know that's going to be the senior, Imani Steele. Only his 4th carry of the game.
Steele and Borden didn't see a lot of action in the first half, but now, comfortable 23-point lead. We're going to see a lot more carries for the seniors. And a read option from Engelman.
This time Engelman kept it himself. And takes it for 5.
Princeton, they've got a big offensive line. Part of the reason they're up on the scoreboard is they've just been winning in the trenches. We haven't seen a ton of stops from the Comet defensive front.
The 3rd and 4 going to be another handoff out of the shotgun formation. It's Steele again, and Steele has no room to work with.
And just as I say, the Comet defense isn't getting stops up front. They come up with a huge one there on 3rd down. Now it's going to be 4th and 4 at the Viking 11, so the Comets should have great field position here.
4th and 4, Princeton's going to be forced to punt here. Even with a good punt, wouldn't be the worst field position for Mason. Back to Hunt, punt for Princeton. It's going to be Jordan Houston. They'll bring a guy in. The punt's up. This one's a good one. Fair catch inside the 50-yard line. Mason starts their drive at Princeton's 46.
That man, Kobe Lewis, the Comets are going to have to count on towards the end of this game. Larson Brown is going to have to air it out more. Kobe Lewis is one of his top targets.
With Sailors taking a couple big hits, they're going to give him a break. Keep Mikey Jones in this game.
Some good experience on Friday night for the sophomore. Big game, homecoming, senior night. He played a little against Middletown, but that was 40-8 blowout.
It's going to be a handoff to him. Tries to make a cut across the middle. He's able to bounce it out for a couple yards.
And they're trying to keep Sailors fresh by playing Jones a lot. But Jones also plays safety. You know, a consistent starter on defense, so you have to hope that he doesn't tire out as well. And the Vikings defense there, as you see, Anis Lugman, he's been the star so far. Several key stops.
Princeton's defense forcing Mason into a power formation. Handoff, give it to Jones, and stuffed behind the line. A swarm of Vikings on that play, led by the defensive lineman, Jalen Stoker. 3rd and 10 coming up for Mason. It just seems like nothing's going their way.
Yeah, the Comets came into this with great field position. We saw it earlier in the second quarter where they had the ball at the 45 and could not get any points, and it's looking like that it's going to happen again. Now 3rd and 10.
Fake handoff rolling out, intended for Kaler. It's going to be incomplete. Mason fans wanted a flag.
I'd say that was clean coverage from Clark Glover. And Brown tries to get it to fellow junior Quentin Kaler. He missed a couple weeks. He's had the touchdown last week, scored in the first 2 games. There, yeah, 22. Clark Glover actually dropped a touch or an interception there. That's the 2nd time we've seen that happen for him. Comet offense will stay out this time on 4th down. Down big on the scoreboard.
In motion is Lewis. Shotgun formation for Brown. Stepping back on 4th down and taken down in the backfield. That's the GMC leader in sacks. And Os Lugman teaming up with Carter to force another turnover on downs.
Yeah, and Brown just can't catch a break there. The offensive line didn't even cover those guys. They just went straight through. 44 Ty Carter gets there right away. Lugman not far behind. Brown clearly frustrated. Didn't have any time to throw on those last 2 plays.
Princeton will take over in Comet territory. Back out of the field is Makai Lynn after taking a drive off. Dumps the screen to Engelman. Gets to the original line.
Engelman had a big first half. 7 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown. He's been the guy they just get when they need to move the change. A bit of a surprise to see Lynn back out on the field. I was expecting after that last drive to see Engelman for most of the second half at quarterback, but they're bringing back their senior.
This time we'll just hand it off to Borden. After breaking through the initial line, will be met by Will Ott.
Borden finally starting to get in the rhythm here in the second half.
We're under a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. Princeton controls this one. Another jump start offside by Bryce Falk.
And we talked about Quentin Kaler missing a couple weeks. Falk missed the first, I believe, 6 games of the season with an injury. Finally, but he was a big part of their pass rush last year as a sophomore. He had a really good one-handed pick 6 that kind of broke him out. And they've missed him so far.
Princeton goes with another hard count. Now they'll take their time with under 30 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Trips to the left of Lynn, dropping back, escaping pressure. Looking for his receiver across the middle, intercepted by J.C. Deaton. Deaton cutting across the middle, breaks a tackle, and the ball's loose. There's going to be a dog pile. We await the call from the officials, and it will be Mason's ball. So the interception Then the fumble, finally recovered by Mason. Fortunate for them.
And Deaton there makes a great play. He turned it up the field, broke several tackles. That fumble was a little scary. Deaton is a sprinter for the track team. He was holding that ball kind of like a baton, a little loose, so it was poked free. As we'll see, Bates had a lot of pressure on Lynn, and he just kind of chucks it up. Deaton, really nice play. Makes a couple guys miss. And yeah, the ball's just stripped out.
I think it's finally recovered by Bates there at the end of the play. But Mason gets the first down in possession. Handoff given to Jones again. And Jones has just not been able to find any green all game long. And another tackle for a loss closes out the third quarter. Princeton continues their dominance with a 30-7 lead, spoiling Mason's homecoming and senior night.
Yeah, Princeton just came out and been the better team. Makai Lynn, we talked about it, has not missed a beat since returning. Now going to the fourth quarter, probably see a lot more of Engelman, the sophomore. TJ Engelman, that is, as his brother Jaleel has also made some plays as a receiver. There we see the Comets band, their show Top Gun. They've been performing all season long at halftime. No matter the score, the Comet band and the cheerleaders always bring energy. Also senior night for the cheerleaders, one of the traditions they do. They have their dads perform with them.
Really is a beautiful atmosphere at Mason High School, even with the deficit. The student body fired up for homecoming tomorrow night. Coming out of the break, start of the fourth quarter, 2nd and 11 coming up for Mason after the run for no gain from Jones. It'll be Molnar taking the direct snap, a Wildcat formation out to the left, and he won't find a gain.
The Comets continue to have no room in the running game. Can't get anything going. They've tried it all. Nick Sailors, Saeed Garnett, Molnar, Jones. None of them are getting any separation. Now 3rd and 12.
After back-to-back plays with a loss of a yard, Garnett's in motion and trips, heads back. Rolling out to his right, Brown, escaping pressure and brought down. Another team tackle for Princeton. Teaming up on that was Jalen Stroker and Ty Carter. They're the ones who were able to team up on the last sack.
And Stoker throws Brown down. He was trying to get the ball out of his hands. That ball almost came loose. Stroker actually pushed it back into Brown's hand.
10:40 to play now. We just got going in the fourth quarter, but Mason has not started it the way they wanted to.
Be another punt here.
Molnar back to punt. Another high one. This one's going to bounce inside the 30. Doesn't get as much of a lucky bounce as his past ones. It'll finally be touched at the 25-yard line, equivalent of a touchback. Princeton takes over with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, 10:13 on the clock. I'm expecting Princeton's offensive game plan to be run the ball. Wear out the Comets defense. Maybe you break one loose from Lynn, Engelman, or maybe Borden. But you're already in control, 30-7. No need to risk giving the Comets possession when you don't need to.
In motion is the wide receiver. Handoff given to Steele. Only able to get a gain of about 1.
Yeah, Steele only 5'5", but really powerful, great contact balance back for him. In the first half, had that 17-yard breakaway run where he showed off his speed. We'll see if he gets a chance to do that here in the fourth quarter.
Mason's defense, the Comets have been up and down all game. Galaxy. Shotgun, snap, given to Steele once again, and Steele starting to find some momentum. Imani Steele, a senior.
Yeah, and Steele just breaks through a swarm of Comets tacklers, finally brought down by Weston Simmons. Simmons has been a bright spot for this Comet defense tonight. He's had a couple breakups in the passing game, a few nice tackles.
Twins to the right. Engelman in motion. There'll be a pitch to him. Cutting inside, Caden Evans finally meets him a couple yards after.
And there Evans and Bryce Falk brought down Engelman. He'll get 1 yard on forward progress. And there we see that big Princeton offensive line.
Second and 9 coming up for Princeton. In motion now is going to be the other brother, TJ Engelman. Lynn looking out to his left, looking deep. He's got his receiver. That's Jaleel Engelman. Walks into the end zone. And Princeton adds on to the lead. 36-7, pending the extra point.
And what a throw there. A defender draped around him. He still delivers a perfect ball to Jaleel Engelman. There Lynn throws that ball 35 yards to Engelman, who gets separation. Gone for his second touchdown of the night.
How happy are the Vikings to have Makai Lynn back. And the extra point is good from Cole Walker, who's been perfect all night. But not only does it bring your star quarterback, the Buffalo commit, into the game, but it also can add some versatility to a guy like Engelman.
Yeah, and some were saying that Lynn shouldn't come back this season. You know, the Engelman's playing really well. Don't want to risk yourself. The Buffalo commit, don't want to risk his college career here. What a throw to Engelman. Just waltzes in. And the Viking offensive line, they knew that that was a beautiful ball. And the fellow receiver knew it as well. Throws his hands up, signaling touchdown. Utter domination in the second half from the Vikings.
Different reactions and feelings on the sidelines from Kastner and Walker. Excuse me, Parker. Walker's the kicker, back to kick. Going to be taken off a weird punt.
Yeah, and that punt was high. Ends up getting fielded by Nathan Werner, the junior DB. There's Coach Parker. Larson Brown trots back out on the field, looking to get something going. 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter of his homecoming game.
Shotgun snap by Brown with trips to the left. Mikey Jones, they're going to keep feeding him. He's had to have had an exhausting day. They're going to him time and time again, and he's not been able to get any help from the offensive line.
Yeah, Jalen Stoker, what a second half he's had, just powers through that Comet offensive line for an easy stop.
Barber. Mason's offense, the last few games has been up and down. Like the defense, it's been hard to tell what Mason's strength is. They're 3-5. A loss here can make them 3-6 on the year. Castor hasn't had a start like that in a long time. Pass out to the left side, complete to Saeed Garnett. Not quite a first down, but a solid gain.
Yeah, and that's a testament to just how talented this GMC is. We talked about it at the very beginning of the game. 4 teams still in contention for the GMC title, Princeton being one of them.
There's some dirty laundry on the field. It's going to be a face mask on the Vikings. So that'll help Mason's offense out a little bit.
And that penalty gives the Comets a first down, something they haven't been able to get in a long time on their own.
First and 10, almost at the 50. Brown will immediately pass, and Garnett's going to have to come up to complete that one.
Nice little comeback route there from Garnett. Able to take it upfield for about 7. Brown sets his feet, throws a bullet pass to Garnett, breaks 1 tackle, and falls forward for a few more yards.
Second and 3 with twins to the left. Garnett in motion. Snap taken by Brown. Having a little more time than normal this time. Finds a receiver for a first down. That's Kobe Lewis. They're going to say the pass is complete.
And Lewis, he had that 27-yard reception earlier. And here, Larson Brown fakes out the defender with his eye. And then what a catch diving by Lewis. Grabs it despite the defender in his face. But I was really impressed there with Brown moving the linebackers with just his gaze.
You can tell he's getting that from experience, starting as only a junior. This time it'll be hand off to Jones again.
Ben, talking about experience, Mikey Jones getting a rough one here. His first time as a true 3-down back against a very talented Princeton front 7, the best run defense in the GMC.
And it definitely showed today. That run defense let up barely anything. In the first half, Mason was only able to get 28 total rushing yards. But the difference, their pass defense, usually worse than the GMC, also showed out today. Brown handoff to Mikey Jones. Finally has some room. Getting picked up. Finally brought down inside the 10.
Jones there. Finally gets some blocks from the O-line. Gets out in space. Able to make something happen here. Nice play from the guard, Michael Wood. Gets around. And then number 10 tried to pick him up. Jones was able to get his feet back on the ground, chug for a few more yards. First and 10 at the 11.
3 minutes to go with trips to the right for Brown. This time, Jones again, not able to go anywhere. Just going to push the ball over to the right side. Mason trying to go in a little bit of a hurry-up offense. 2:43 to go. Their only goal in mind is to end this game with a bang. Seems virtually impossible. Down 30 with 2 minutes left in the game to come back in this one. They can feel better about themselves with a score here. Pass across the middle, incomplete to Bryant Violand. Viola made a nice effort, a diving attempt, but can't secure it. Good coverage there for Princeton. That was Justin Wimpey.
Yeah, he tied for the GMC lead, 3 interceptions. Violand, he's been a top red zone target for Brown. You know, he's the 4th receiver because they've got Garnett, Molnar, and Lewis. But Violand's been solid when they've called on him.
Larson Brown here, dropping back a screen pass to Jones. Another way creative to use Jones, and he's got room. Mikey Jones, his first career varsity touchdown. The usual defensive back for the Comets, getting a lot of snaps at running back today. And his first touchdown's a screen pass.
And that's what I was looking for from Jones. Going back to his freshman football days in middle school, he was great as a receiving back in there, catches the screen, makes one guy miss, runs in for the touchdown, and he's excited, gets his first varsity touchdown, even though they're down big on the scoreboard. A little bit of momentum going to the end of their senior night and homecoming game.
That makes all those frustrating snaps and frustrating plays where he couldn't find anything, and they kept going to him all game. It makes it all worth it.
And it's Ruminski back for the extra point this time.
They're going to try something different. Maybe Ruminski on senior night, he's stuck with the Comets his whole career as the kicker. Doesn't get a whole lot of shots at extra points and field goals. We'll see if the lefty can go out with a bang on his home field. Kick is up, and it's good. Ryan Ruminski coming in, his first extra point attempt in a few weeks, and he punches it through. 37-14 now.
Yeah, and you can see Ruminski's got a big leg. That kick was way above the uprights in the black hole. You know, 1:37 remaining, they're down 24. They're still excited. Homecoming tomorrow night. Proud of their team's performance. All by that Larson Brown to Mikey Jones touchdown, the sophomore. And did you see that? Skylar Horn had an absolute huge block there on a Princeton defender. Ruminski, normally the long distance field goal kicker for the Comets, but just hasn't had any opportunities for that. And there he gets to show off his leg. And now have another chance back at his normal duty as the kickoff specialist.
Horn, another guy who wants to go out with a bang. Most likely their last game here. With this loss, they probably will not have a chance to host a playoff game.
Yeah, next week against Oak Hills.
Now that's just host. They've almost clinched a spot in the playoffs this year with the expanded bracket to 16 of the 17 teams. Return coming here, nice, still going from Clark Glover.
And earlier in the game, the Comets were squibbing it, and Clark Glover showed why right there. He's very explosive as a return man. And now Mikey Jones coming off the field. They're going to give him a breather after that touchdown and then playing on special teams. And 1:20 on the clock. Princeton likely just going to run the clock out here. Makai Lynn, what a game he's had.
Mason has a couple of timeouts, so you know they might use them. But we're under a minute to go here. 37-14, a big lead for the Princeton Vikings, chasing that GMC title. Snap taken by Lynn, who's got a glove falling off of his hand. He's just going to run to the left, a couple of flags, and run out of bounds at the line of scrimmage.
And Ben, I think that's going to be holding. You could see a lot of grabbing from the Princeton O-line and some objections from the Comet sideline. And yeah, that is going to be the call. That'll stop the clock. The Vikings will move back 10 yards from the spot of the foul. And I believe that happened behind the line of scrimmage where the holding was. So 1st and 22 here. The clock will start again. 40 seconds remaining.
Makai Lynn going to slowly backpedal and take a knee. And it looks like no timeouts will be taken from Mason's sideline as the clock runs under 30 seconds. There's some confusion going on the field. Officials discussing, coaches out onto the field. And that is it. The final score here from Dwyer Field, 37-14. Princeton makes a statement in spoiling Mason's senior night and homecoming game.
Yeah, dominant performance from the Vikings. Comets, not the outcome they wanted on their senior night on homecoming. Their coach Brian Kastner and Andre Parker. And I'm Andrew Little here with Coach Kastner, not happy there. It's a total dominant performance from the Vikings offense, especially the return of Makai Lynn.
Makai Lynn found his receivers all night long, and Rodney Harris and both the Engelmans. He had a beautiful return game. It was his homecoming. Back out onto the field where his home is. And Larson Brown did all he could. Kobe Lewis had a couple of nice catches. Michael Molnar had that touchdown. Mikey Jones with a screen pass. But Rodney Harris, I mean, we can't say enough about the game he had, and it's not the quantity of catches. He's only had, but 2 of them were for touchdowns. Gains.
Yeah, those 2 touchdowns coming in the second quarter where he just flipped the switch. The Comets could not stop him. There we see Lynch. He was a dual threat, had a couple on the ground as well. And Brown to Molnar had a few nice plays. Molnar had the touchdown.
So a very big implication on Princeton. A good night for them when they're chasing that GMC title, but Mason is clinging on to a top 10 Harbin ranking. This won't be great for their seeding. But from tonight, from homecoming night, from senior night, a beautiful show out for Mason with up and down weather, not able to come out on top. Princeton takes the victory, 37-14 at Dwyer Field. I'm Ben Haller alongside Andrew Little. Thanks for joining us all night.